Hi viewers and subscribers, welcome to my YouTube channel Green Treasure. Today our focus will be on park components. We'll see the definition of the park and its types and the components, both external and internal. It is a it's in continuation to the series of the videos which I have uploaded for landscape designing parks and it is designing, and this will be one of the video which will focus on the park components. As you'll see, the first of all, let us see the definition of the park. The park definition as per the IFRA, which is International Federation of Parks and Recreation Administration. As per IFPRA, a park is a planned and landscaped area, usually of large extent, for public enjoyment, recreation, and relaxation, containing features such as paths, lawns, and trees. So the park is basically a planned and a landscaped area, and it provides a peaceful escape from urban life, promoting physical and mental well-being. And also, park supports the local ecosystem and biodiversity. You see, IFPRA is a global organization which is dedicated to promoting the development and improvement of parks, recreation, and leisure services worldwide. Here on the right side is a Waller Vintage Park, which is in J&K, is a serene park landscape, and my friend is sitting there as a basically the registrar of the Cluster University, Dr. Velayat Rizvi. So based on the primary purpose and the features, the parks have been divided into number of the types, categorized as urban, national, state, regional, natural, theme, historical, and botanical gardens. Well, if you will see the urban, as it will be a park with all the facilities in cities or in the towns. The national will be, which is at a national level, being managed by the national governments, and also it's very large and is designated for conservation purposes, having national, natural, historic, and cultural significance. And state one is also similar to the national park, but it is managed by the state administration. Regional parks are of regional nature and they are confined to certain regions. And the natural park is one which is meant to preserve natural habitat and with little human intervention. Whereas the theme ones are basically the amusement parks, and which are as per the themes, and historical parks are those parks which are meant to preserve and interpret the significance and the historical sites, and basically which has the historical landmarks and the structures for education and cultural purposes. As for the botanical gardens, they are basically the areas that are focused on the cultivation and display of wide variety of plants for research, education, and conservation. So basically, parks are being categorized on the basis of their size and on the basis of their primary purpose and the features. Our focus will be on the park components. Basically, parks are designed. We should have amenities like playground. It should have pathways. It should have wide open green space. It should have place for physical activities. It should have multifunctional spaces and where people can convene, can interact with each other. So we have to see what are the park components and how we take care in the designs of the relevance of park design is basically parks are planned and designed which is relevant to the community needs. So you need a design. What are the needs of the community? What are the expectations of the community? And will it provide the opportunities for social interaction? And it should also preserve the natural, cultural, or the heritage values. And it should also remain relevant to people's day-to-day lives. So these are the certain things which are to be taken while you are designing a park. So what are the components of the park design? Basically, there are two components, broadly speaking. One is the external component and another is the internal component. Let us see first of all the external components. First of all, you have to see the location of the park. And the area where you locate a park should have a good connectivity to street and footpath network. And also that area should have an easy accessibility. That is, public parks should be accessible to all with accessible path of travel. And third is, when you are selecting a park, your location is selected, you have to go for the boundary wall for demarcation. And park perimeter should be properly fenced with designated main entry point. And then we have to have there a parking slots for vehicles. For the convenience of general public and hassle-free movement of the visitors, a parking facility is must for vehicles. So external components will take care of the external things. That is the location, easy accessibility, boundary wall, then the parking slots for vehicles. And then if you will see, these are the different types of the boundary walls uh, as per the requirements a park can have. Boundary walls for different types of the parks. And then you can also have the main entry points, which is significant. And you see, this is the entry point for the garden, which is called as Badamwari in J&K. And then these are the different entry points, so they are always attractive entry points. And then you have to go for the parking slots for a vehicles. You have to keep a provision for the parking of the vehicles. These are the parking slots for the vehicles. And then you have to have, for emergency situations, emergency conditions, the multiple exit points along the perimeters, so that you may have to escape. There should be escape routes for the people under emergency conditions. And then you have to locate the bollards, which are basically the large, strong vertical posts of iron or timber, which is preventing the vehicle access to a pavement. So they are barriers. Then there are signage boards at the frontages of the park, which depict the important park, the way to park locations. You should have a signage board which will act as a park guide for visitors from outside. So that means each these are the bollards, which are of iron or wooden. These are also the bollards, and bollards which are preventing the car parking, as demarcating it. And then there are also the signage boards for each and every park. And these signage boards depicts each and every amenities present in the park. In a way, it acts as a guide to a visitor to navigate the park. Then what are the internal components now? When you see the internal components, it includes internal design features. What should be the vegetation of the park? What water features you can have in park? You can have recreational facilities in the park. You have park infrastructure pathways. You have seating arrangements. You have art and architecture. So these are internal components. We will discuss them one by one. First of all, you have a vegetation. As you know, which includes trees, shrubs, grasses, and flowers. Though this is not my basic topic for this, we can discuss the trees, shrubs, and grasses and flowers in detail in another video. But these are some of the pictures This is the Nehru Memorial Botanical Garden. This is a Nehru Memorial Botanical Garden located at Chashma Shahi. You'll see the water body there and different types of the vegetation growing in the park. So let us see first of all the trees. Tree can be of different shapes. They can be round, they can be columnar, they can be oval, they can be pyramidal, they can be vase-shaped, they can be weeping. So these types of the tree forms of the trees, different tree forms are used for visual appeal. And form is also important for function also. We will discuss when we will be discussing the texture of the plants in relevance to the garden design. Round or oval trees for creating a shady area in the garden, and columnar or pyramidal form used as a screen. Weeping trees form makes a good focal point. It makes a good focal point to a particular area. And you have a relevance of a tree in a park. Why we plant the trees in a park? First, it provides shade, is a common sense. It improves the air quality. It is for good visual. It has a good visual appeal, and it offers habitat for variety of birds also. Now, shrubs basically forms include, they can be upright, vase-shaped, they can be arching type, they can be mounding type, they can be rounded type, they can be spiky, cascading, irregular. That means there are different forms of the shrubs having different shapes, and shrubs add basically texture to the park, and it provides soothing colors. It also offers an habitat for small animals. So we have shrub forms which can be cascading, just like a waterfall. It can be arching type. They are arching type of this. It can be a round type, or it can be a spiky type, or there can be irregular type. So these are different forms, or there can be a mounding type, which can be just like plateaus. So we have shrubs which are covering the area, which can be of different types. Likewise, we have the other forms which are basically which covers the ground, which are called as the ground forms. They will be also discussed here. These are some of the pictures of the shrub forms and the plant forms which add color to the nature, to the park, and creates a soothing environment, and also covers the soil. Ground forms or all ground covers look better in masses because they are in aggregates. They are typically small ground hedging plants. Types of forms include matting type, spreading type, clumping type, sprawling type, and short spikes. So you have a spreading type, like a grass which spreads. You have a clumping type, they are together in the form of a clump. Or they are sprawling type, or they can be small short spikes as a small grasses, or there can be the sprawling types. These are the some of the forms which are grasses, ground forms. They cover the ground, and they form the form the soften landscape. They reduce the erosion, and they provide recreational space also. You sit on the grass. So these are ground cover forms. So you have to make a turf, you have to make a grasses in a park. It depends upon your requirements. But ground cover forms are meant to cover the soil, and give a sort of a softened landscape. Then, of course, the park usually have the flowers, and the flowers which are of different types depends upon which are suitable for the park. You can use the perennials, which flower blooms for multiple years. You can use the annuals, which replace each year. You can go for the native flowers native to the region. So design considerations for flowers is you choose flowers as per color scheme. We will discuss the color scheme in the next video. So we have flowers, you select flowers that are low maintenance and have accessibility from walking paths. So you are planting the flowers where it can be seen from the path. What are the benefits of the flowers? And you know, it has an aesthetic appeal, it improves air quality, it will have an stress relief effect, it will be an habitat for bees, butterflies and insects, which are the pollinators. So this flower vegetation and all vegetal cover will be discussed in other videos where a landscaper uses them as per the requirement. Then after that, you can add certain water features in a park, which can be ponds, which can be lake, which can be a fountain, which can be a stream, depends upon the location. So a pond which can support the aquatic life, and lakes offer larger bodies for recreation, relaxation, and aquatic life habitat. Fountains are now added in a garden, add aesthetic appeal, create soothing sounds, and provide visual focal points. Or some gardens have natural streams, or you can man-made streams are created, and which creates a natural serene environments and supporting local ecosystems. So you have a suitable water features you can have. You can select a water feature for outdoor space. You can try to place it amongst plantings, preferably at corners. Use water features with inbuilt light and musical facility. Now they are available. Listen to the sound of the water features before buying. Sound acts as a source of enjoyment in a garden. So you have the water features available. Some are natural, some are man-made. These are some of the pictures. As you will see, a corner of the lawn is with a water point, and this is Nehru Memorial Botanical Garden with a lake. And these are some of the water points which you use, or you use a fountain in the corners with sound and music, which plays a soothing effect on the visitor. Now, important thing is the navigation. You have to navigate in a park. You need to have a paths. You cannot every time go for a trespassing or trampling of the green area. So you have to have a paths. So paths are what are the importance of the paths? First of all, it's an easy accessibility for visitors. Helps visitors to navigate the park, because you cannot every time use the green area. Facilitate movement of people within the park. What are the types of the parks? Depends upon paths, depending upon the material. Asphalt paths for high traffic areas. Concrete, these are textured paths. Gravel paths are porous and permeable paths. Brick paths for historic parks. So you have a choice for the paths which are to be made, which is as per your park requirements. So you can use the tiles, you can use the concrete, you can use a permeable and a porous gravel paths, or simply if it is historical, you use the brick parks. Path design considerations. What should be an internal pathways? What should be the width? Width of path should be 3.28 to 5 feet. It is to accommodate expected visitor flow. First of all, you have to see how much is the intake capacity, and accordingly you will make the paths. User like wheelchairs and prams, it should accommodate wheelchair, it should accommodate prams. And then you have to use the lighting to ensure safety and visibility at night. Use energy efficient lighting like LED or solar lights. So that means internal path width can be from 3.28 to 5 feet. Similarly, you have the internal links that should have paths linked with park embellishments, like shelters are in a park, there should be an interlink path, there should be the seats are there and benches are there, they should be en route to the paths. Exercise equipment is there, barbecues are there, washrooms and toilets are there, so it is to be interlinked with the paths. The surface material which we will use, it can be should be durable and low maintenance. Central pathway should be hard surfaced, and you always incorporate accessibility features. That is, it should be accessible to everybody. So these are certain design considerations for the paths so that you will have a connectivity with the park embellishments which are in your park. So this is how wide internal park pathways are. If you require, you have prams, you have wheelchairs, so you have the different dimensions which are required for different types of the requirements. If a person is physically challenged, if a person is on a wheelchair, if a prime is there, and then you have to accommodate them. That's why from 3.28 to 5 feet are the park requirements, widths of the park. These are some of the parks which have been shown here. The paths of the park, which is Badamwari Park. In the backdrop is the hillocks there, and then these are the internal paths and the tiled path, hard surface and the tiled central pathway, which is in the Badamwari Park, Srinagar, located at Srinagar Badamwari. Then you have other hard surfaced central pathway. These are here, and then you have to see the benches which are located, if it is a joggers park or is a park normal, and you have to place them nearer to the path. In addition to this, you have certain park embellishments, a resting place, a site for picnic spots, and these areas are to be connected with the path. So, what are the key aspects of internal park design? Internal park designing aspects are you should have an equitable access and to people, to visitors with vision and hearing impairments, and some are the families with prams and young children. Some people are with injuries, some are elderly, and some are with mobility impairments. So for them, you should have all equitable access. So when you design a park, a pathway, you keep these things into consideration. So that now you have to plant trees along the path. To create shade, locate trees along the path, along both passive and active areas, activity areas. Trees should have clear trunks for height of 1.5 meter. Also, trees to be offset a minimum of 2 meters from paths, private properties and pavements. 1.5 meters from car park curbs and pavements. That means you have to locate at least first of all the above breast level height of the tree. It should be clear to allow the visibility, and then it should be at least 2 meters away from this. In addition to this is how you 2 meters from the path, and then there should be 2 meters should be the path away from the path, and then there should be a trunk clearance up to 1.5 meters to have more visibility on in the park. What are the important guidelines? Avoid planting as for the trees are concerned. Now you cannot plant every type of a tree. When a path is there, you have to avoid planting sprawling ground cover plants and shrubs close to hard edges such as curbs, paths, and pavements. So when you have an hard edges, you have curbs, you have these pavements, paths, you should avoid ground cover nearer to it. And also avoid spiky plants along hard edges. You should trees with large seed pods and fruits to be planted within mulched garden beds. That should not be nearer to the path, that should be nearer to the bed, because that will create a problem on a path. Trees should not overhang hard pavements. So it should be away from the path. That's why we maintain a distance from the tree and the path. It's just for shading. And what is the material used for the paths? Hardscape material for park, man-made material installed in parks must be robust because you have a more visitor flow. It should have low maintenance. It should be fire resistant. It should be vandal proof, that is resistant to vandalism. It should be non-cohesive. It should be sourced locally. It should be recycled material should be utilized, and it should be visually inconspicuous and non-toxic in nature. That means your garden, your park will have two components. One is a hardscape component and one is the softscape component. Softscape component, we have seen the vegetable, trees, shrubs, under the ground cover, and then we have seen the flowers. While as in case of hardscape, you have seen the material which will be used for paths, for other park embellishments, which should be robust, which should be having a low maintenance, and you should also prefer the recycled material, non-toxic, and which is visually inconspicuous material. And then there are certain things which are now being put to make a park an eco-friendly and a crime-free spot. There are certain principles of CPTED. The CPTED means crime. C stands for crime, P stands for prevention, T stands for throw, E stands for environmental, and D stands for the design. That means you have a CPTED, which is basically the parks are now designed in accordance with the principles of the CPTED to increase comfort level, to provide user-friendly environment, and also to have a crime-free aspect in the parks, public parks. What are the principles of the CPTED? First is that you have to have clear sight lines are to be maintained across the passive and active use areas for good surveillance. That's why we keep, first of all, above breast height tree clear, trunk clear, and then there should be clear sight lines. All outdoor public spaces should be appropriately and consistently illuminated. Proper, that means you have to go for the proper light arrangements, especially where nighttime use is expected and encouraged. In those parks, you should use light fixtures, are usually mounted high and are vandal resistant. They should be mounted on high poles, and because it will not be subjected to vandalism. Maintain clear visibility in public space and along routes. Maintain clear sight lines to potential hazards such as water bodies, open drains. Use low shrubs and ground cover planting that do not interrupt sight lines or create possible hiding spots. All park areas to be designed and constructed to reduce the potential for unauthorized access, graffiti, and vandalism, because you should use such a material, such a thing, so that there will not be writing on the walls, there will not be vandalism there. So these are some of the principles of the CPTED. This is how a proper lighting arrangement is to be made along. You can see the visibility. These are the lighting arrangements here. Or you can see how a sight lines or clear visibility lines are being maintained in a park. This is how a light is being used here, and so that these spots will be visible, and there will be clear sight lines. Though trees are there, but you see the people. These are certain measures which are preventing the crime in the public places. And the focus should be on park sustainability. If you are making an urban park, public parks must be socially and environmentally sustainable, and also park design must have thorough consideration for water conservation, which is very important. Avoid minimize water usage, aim to minimize water usage, and we should have a feasible harvest water for reuse within the park. And that's why nowadays we incorporate water sensitive urban design, and that promotes the recycling of the drain water, of the sewerage water, so that it is being used for watering the parks, and that way it is subjected to the water conservation principles also. Also, you should protect and enhance natural and heritage features. Public parks must protect and enhance natural and heritage features and values. Historic artifacts displayed along pathway and natural geological features within space must be done in a way that both preserves the feature as well as making it accessible and safe to view. So some gardens, some parks have certain historical artifacts. They are to be protected in such a way, and they are to be vivid also. And that's why we protect and enhance natural and heritage features in a park also. Then there should be one more important, that's the financial sustainability. Our focus should be on easy maintenance. Parks and park assets must be easy to maintain. Park should be financially sustainable to the city. Use park elements less expensive to construct. Have low ongoing maintenance costs. Develop park embellishments, paths, trees, grass, and seats having widest appeal that would endure for centuries. So the important aspect of the urban parks, especially that which are in the towns, is the financial sustainability. That's why you see in Kashmir, maximum of the parks have been taken by the J&K Bank. They are managing it, and for that they have kept a reasonable entry fee, and they are providing all the facilities there. And financial sustainability is very important. So this was about certain thing about the park, its types, park design relevance, the components, and I think the theme which was the park components have been done here. Uh, in case you have liked it, you can subscribe the channel, or you can add comments to it. In future, we will be coming up with more of the videos which will be covering the park designs, architecture, architect, and nursery and gardening. And this was all about the park and its components. Hope you have liked the video. Thank you very much.